Hello, and thank you for joining. If you're joining on Facebook, I can't say Twitch right now. I haven't been streaming to Twitch, but I will when I get back into my main account. So welcome on Facebook, hi, and right here on YouTube in the Chatmosphere. Who's here first? Let's see. Jamie is here. Hi, Jamie. Welcome. You say, I'll wait forever. I don't care. I think it's important. Is it important? Tell me why, Jamie. Let's see what's going on. You sent me a song? Where did you send it, Jamie? Let me know if you all could hear me too. Let me make sure the sound is good before I start babbling for too long. Babbling in Babylon. Can you hear me? Hello, everyone. Just testing sound. I don't want to do a 6-minute silent rant. So I'll wait, okay? I'll just sip on my mud water, my mud broth. Thank you, Beewolf. Okay, now, thank you, Matthew. Hey, Matthew. Thanks for joining. And Mother of All Messages. I love that name. Mrs. Harris, hello, and Johnny. Sean's here. Yay! Mary Bo, love the photos. Oh, great. Thank you. And John, hey, John. And Lori, you caught alive? Good. Hey, John, thank you. Peace to you as well, Matthew. All right, so let me see what I think. Hey, Ann, hi. And Donna, hello. Jamie was saying something is important. Let me go back, Jamie, up because I wanted to make sure the sound was good. So you are saying that you sent me some music. Good music can save the universe. So I definitely want to know about that. And you sent it where? Just let me know so I can look out for it. Right now, I'm going through a period of organization. I'm organizing. So yeah, if I don't respond to a message, make sure, please send it again, or just tell me in the chatmosphere, like look out for something. Some of my emails I can't get into if you're sending them to some of my other emails that I've had, because if you have a YouTube channel taken down, you can't use the Gmail account anymore. So they take you off of all the Gmail, like Google access. So bear with me. Currently, I'm using a Yahoo. Okay, I try to put it in the description, but I'll make sure I have it here. Okay, so you're saying that you want to get a song to me. Okay. You know a lot about music. You'll find a way. No worries. You do have a lot to say. Good. If you have a lot to say, that's wonderful. Maybe you can say some things here, okay? All right, so, hey there, Kathy. Welcome, welcome. And Nixon, welcome. Yes, Sean, F Google. All right, so I want to talk about some things, but before I do, I want to thank Listen, you don't have to do it, but some of you are so sweet. You have been so sweet to me over this past 2 years of me being in exile from my profession. Now, I have been blessed to open a business, but in the interim, you've been so sweet to bless me, okay? As I'm building myself back up and just learning so much about money and finances, and it's an amazing education. So I told you that you're going to see me it's like a metamorphosis. I've been in a cocoon. So you'll watch my journey because it is a journey that we are all taking. I'm just sharing my journey with you, and you can share yours with me. My journey back to Eden, okay? Wholeness and shalom, and that is where I am going. And you know the desires that I wish to see and create in the world. Some of them, you know that. It's basically, you could sum it up to back to Eden. And it means a lot. We can unpack it as things start to flow. And agriculture, homesteading, farming, that is the new flex, okay? That is the new sexy. Tell me that you are planting me an orchard, okay? You have my attention. I'll be like, tell me more. Tell me more. You're planting me an orchard? How about a vineyard? Planting me a vineyard? We're planting each other a vineyard? Okay, I'm just saying. This is like a new way of thinking, okay? So, hey, Alan, welcome, Alan. Hello, hello. Are you hearing static crackling again? Hold it. Let me go into the settings and take something off or put something on. Let me see. Testing. What does it sound like now? Let me know. I'll wait. I'll wait a minute. Let me see if I'm covering a speaker. Better? It's weird. I go back and forth with the setting. It doesn't make sense. So, okay, thank you, Soul Yeshua. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. All right, so, okay, like I was saying, you all have been very sweet to me, and I thank you. And you know what happened? Someone blessed me recently to add to my business, you know, like just getting my office started, supplies. And it's amazing because I'll show you some of the things that it's like going back to school, okay? And I'm getting an office all ready, and I need to be super organized and really, you know, back to a really what do you want to say, a consistent schedule. And so I want to thank you all. Want to thank the ones that provided this provision and helped me. It's like having, you know how people have a home, like a home warming. What is it? A housewarming. A housewarming. So this is like having an office warming. Okay, so you're helping me warm my office and warm my supplies. So someone blessed me with this today. So I want to show you, okay? Because I'm excited. And I want to tell you that sometimes these things they add to your enthusiasm. And if you are really visual and creative like me, and finally I'm in a business where I don't have to feel like, oh, I'm not corporate enough. I'm not buttoned up enough. You know, I can't wear gauzy, you know, caftans and flowy things, you know. I can't wear my big earrings, you know. I don't want to feel like that anymore. I don't want to wear scrubs. Scrubs. No more scrubs. You know, come on. No more scrubs. I want to be me. And I'm thanking you for allowing me to be me. So the blessing that I want to show you, it's like, you know, it's like going back to school, okay? Getting an office. So I was talking to a lady today. I'm really getting out everybody. I'm buzzing all around, and in interacting with people. I love it. Okay. So I was talking to a lady, and we were in the, section where you have all of the supplies for your office and studies and things like that. And she was looking at similar things. And she was like, "Oh, I'm getting something together for one of my friends." And so I was just talking with her. It's like it's getting back to that, just the talking again, I'm noticing. And she said that her friend is now starting a business at home. So she was buying her friend all of these office supplies. And I was just like blown away. I was like, that is so thoughtful. And I mean, I would have never thought of that. But I want to give you this idea. If you have a friend who is starting a home based business and you're thinking like, maybe it's something coming up, okay? And you might say, you know what? I want to give my friend an office setup, okay? Like, oh my God, like John right now. My goodness, thank you. Oh my goodness. See, this is amazing, all right? And I received that with just the warmest thank you. And I love this time that we're in. This is the Jubilee. We are on the, like, we're right almost there. We're pulling it through. Thank you, John, for office supplies. That is so sweet. Thank you. My goodness. And you know what? I have fun just setting up and organizing. I do like to be organized. So I'm getting back in that mind frame. And so like this woman was saying that she is getting her friend all of this stuff. And I was like, what if people started to do that? You may have a friend, or you may be the person that's embarking on a home-based business. You may want to have an office warming. I don't know. She and I were just talking about the concept, and we're like, oh my gosh, people could register. You could get on a registry and let people know what you need for your home-based office. Okay? So I'm just saying, this is the kind of thing you can do for somebody instead of doing some of the just regular schmegular things. This was super thoughtful, and it just happened. It was just organic, our conversation. I was like, I want to share this with people. So let me share what someone blessed me with. So this is going to be my beginning to my new business and the things that I'm going to use to organize myself. So thank you all for the blessing. So this right here, I'm going back to like a, you know how I do it. So this will be my binder. And I love a lot of floral. So binder. And this is one of the gifts I want to tell you I really, really appreciate. This was a gift from a while back. Someone blessed me with black wing pencils, and I use them. I'm very sparing with my black wing pencils, okay? So I'm going analog in a lot of ways. So look at how beautiful they are constructed. These are some of the best pencils. I have had so much fun, but you see, I use them. Do you see how far I use my black wing pencils? I am not going to be throwing these away until I can't use it anymore. So yes, that's how much like I use them and love them, okay? So yeah, shout out to Black Wing. Listen, if you want to get together or do any sponsorship, I ain't too proud to tell you that I am a happy, happy user of your product. This is a beautiful product, okay? So that's something I wanted to just share with you. You love pencils, Mish. I love them, okay? So listen, so I'm going to do the loose leaf paper. This is something that is a green product, okay? So it's been through the cycles of recycling 100%. So I'm being mindful of what people are saying that we should be doing. Okay, now are you ready? Oh my gosh, I get too excited. Okay, first I'll show you this. Okay, calendar. Don't you feel like it's like going back to school? I'll get to the subject, okay? But it's a tough subject, so I'm you know how I do, I kind of ease into the subjects. Okay, look, this is a calendar. You notice the floral theme right now? So, new calendar. And the floral is representative of planting seeds and blossoming, and just want to let you know that that is the whole thing. Okay, so look, These are dividers. Okay, so they're floral, so floral dividers. Now this can get you excited, like to do your work. I'm just saying, these are things that make me happy, and I want to thank you all again. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, Klaus Schwab would be happy. Klaus, I'm using recycled paper, Klaus Schwab. So leave me alone, okay? Leave me alone, Klaus. Okay, so this would be, okay, wait. Let me do it in order. I showed you. Those were the dividers. Okay, so the dividers for my loose leaf book. Remember that term, loose leaf? And this would be my folders. So I have peaches for the peach state, Georgia. We are going to make the dirty South. We're cleaning it up, the dirty peach, okay? And I have some lemons, of course, lemonade. And so those are some folders. I need folders to organize different things. So here are the other set of folders. Look at that, floral. Doesn't that make you think of the 70s? This reminds me of my Aunt Eleanor. She had some sheets that when you went to visit, you would sleep on sheets like this, okay? Maybe other colors, but it just has that groovy 70s nostalgia. Okay, so shout out to my Aunt Eleanor, who she was a gardener. I would say a master gardener. And this is the other. Now, this truly reminds me, I swear I had a jumper dress in this pattern. Okay, I am not kidding. Does that happen to you when you look at certain patterns and you're like, I have seen that somewhere? So this is super cute, isn't it? Don't you love? So I am just excited. And I want to thank you all. I want Klaus Schwab to leave me alone. I've got green things. So that is something I wanted to just take. Yes, flower power. That's right. We're going to start to grow our own apothecary gardens, our victory gardens. So I'm going to be visiting with the farmers, okay, in the south of Georgia. I ran into someone today, okay? I know that this stuff is political, but I know that you're going to see me moving among the farmers. So let's just put it out there, okay? I ran into Shirley Sherrod today. It was very nice. Now listen, all the political stuff aside, Shirley Sherrod is someone that I really like a lot as a person, okay? I really like her a lot. And I've been around her, and she is an amazingly powerful woman. Just really powerful, like gentle but powerful. And I don't know a lot about what happened. Just enough, okay? I know just enough, okay? But there's a balance here, and we have to start working with everyone that wants to help us get back to Eden, okay? So, politics aside, I just wanted to say that. And the last time I saw Shirley was in the supermarket. So it was funny, I ran into her in the supermarket today, and it was just a nice exchange. So, there are things that are going on in the realm of agriculture that I want us to be aware of. And for anybody who's interested in agriculture as a skill that you want to learn, let's learn together, okay? I have just basic agricultural education. My father being an agricultural chemist, he worked for the state of Georgia for the Department of Agriculture. So I've always been around agriculture. And he worked in Cuba he worked in the Castro administration's agriculture. So the Academy of Sciences, and, for coffee crops and things like that. So I've learned by being around agriculture. And I also went to high school in Philadelphia. I went to an agricultural high school. WB Saul. Okay, WB Saul. I went there for a year, and so I had a little bit of agricultural education. So, um, yeah, shout out to Saul. And I was inducted into, I don't know what you call it, inducted into the Future Farmers of America. So I had my jacket. I was a jacket wearing future farmer of America. Okay, who knew? So sometimes you don't understand why you do the things you do, your trajectory, but it all just starts to come together if you stay true. Excuse me, I have a little crazy hair, I see. Let me just put it in place. Okay, so I am excited about this mission. I feel that it's a mission, going back to Eden and just doing really creative things. We were talking today on the radio live stream. Hey, baby fox. Good evening. What a new, I love the name. Can we give a warm welcome to baby fox? Welcome, baby fox, and thanks for swinging by. Yeah, so yeah, I just wanted to say that this is a journey and it's an exciting journey. I will share so much of it. So I want to talk about right now something that's not comfortable. It's a continuation of a conversation that I had earlier, okay? And this conversation involves aviation. Now I have to talk about it in a certain way, I guess. I don't know. I'll just talk about it. I'll do what I can. Okay. So we'll just work from however words that come. Okay. So I didn't talk much about September 11th in any way other than, I don't know. I have been far removed from the events that happened in 2001, although it was very traumatic for me personally because of things that have happened in my life early on. And my relationship to aviation is complicated, yes. And I have tough skin, so I'm okay with the jokes, okay? I'm not touchy. You don't have to tiptoe around me. People know my story and I'm open about it. So it doesn't hold that power of shame or anything like it did before. So there's power to telling your story in whatever way you want to tell it. I have not written a book officially. I started like a manuscript, but things get in the way. People, they do interesting things. I've run into a lot of roadblocks when I've attempted to write my story, and the roadblocks are within my family. Okay, so I've had some bad experiences with people blowing up at me when I make an attempt to write my story, my book. They don't want me to. They don't want me to do it, I guess, the way I'm doing it. I had an uncle who was mad at me because I didn't want to do things his way. He is plugged into lots of the elite, and he wanted me to meet Oprah Winfrey, and work through Oprah and do things that way. But you know me, I've told you, I am the black sheep, okay? I don't want to say black. I am the brunette sheep. I'm the brunette sheep of my family. And I have gone against a lot of the I've told you it's the black boule. It's the elephant in the room, okay? So my family is a black boule family, okay? Let's not dice or splice words, okay? So I have been the one who doesn't play according to the script, as you can imagine. I don't do things the way that they want me to. So I have fallen out with people. They fell out with me. So you can see the title of my, you know, the stream tonight is I have pilot friends that don't speak to me anymore. And, is it my cosmology? Hey, Steph on stage. Hello. Nice to see you. I hadn't seen you in a minute. Yeah, so my pilot friends don't speak to me anymore. And that's unfortunate. I wondered why. I started thinking about it. It started with John last night. We were doing, you know, the show on Monday, and he mentioned that 9/11 really traumatized him. And when he said it, I started thinking about it. Hey, Jen Day, I love that name. That's a new name. Can we give a warm welcome to Jen Day? Welcome, Jen Day. Thank you for coming by. So, when John mentioned what 9/11 did to him, I started thinking about just the impact on just everybody, but I thought, yeah, it did me too. I was so traumatized by 9/11 events. I was in Philadelphia that I had to move to Los Angeles. That's how bad it affected me. So I could not stay on the East Coast. And I had other, things that happened that I'll share, I don't know, another time. But I just wanted to just say that I could identify with what John was saying last night about what 9/11 did to him. And it did that to all of us. We were talking about the group collective trauma from 9/11, and that's 20, something years ago. And now we have 2020, the events of 2020 with the COVID-19 pandemic. This was a global, worldwide, I don't want to say global, strike global, okay? I don't mean to say global. When I say it, it's just out of programming, okay? But I will catch myself when I say things like that. I don't want to remain in the programming. So give all of us grace, okay? We give each other grace with these things because we're learning and we're shedding all of the programming. So I thought about the collective trauma, and I came across something I want to share. And we shared it earlier, and it's very important that I want you all to share this. I don't say this a lot. I don't ask you to share things, but you can at least share the information. If you don't share this video, just share this information. It is very important to all of us. It doesn't matter what country you live in. This was a collective, it was worldwide, okay? So everyone is welcomed into this conversation. I don't care where you live on the globe. We welcome and we love you here in America, in the United States, because we are not proud of things that our country has done, okay? They did not do these things with our consent. And if we did consent to anything, it's because we were lied to. And we were told things that made us think that people in the Middle East were after us, wanted to bring harm to us. And our troops went to the Middle East. Our troops fought in the Gulf Wars. Our troops went over to Afghanistan. I knew a young man who did too many tours in Afghanistan. He was a boyfriend of one of my cousins in Los Angeles. And this young man was so devastated, and just the effects of this war and doing too many tours. They allowed him to do so many tours. Well, he did commit S. All right? He did it at home with a pow pow. Can you imagine? His mother, everybody's home when he did this. So we have the fallout of these decisions that were made by criminals of the highest order. And we need to know what happened. We cannot remain unaware and uninterested and apathetic and distracted. We cannot do that, because this is now 2 events that have happened without answers. We, the people, have not been given answers, not the kind of answers that we need. We need investigation. Let's talk about that. We need investigations. Now, earlier I mentioned, I'm not going to go back to the assassination of John F. Kennedy, because the conspiracy theories, as they call them, that's where the term was coined, but it's so many. We have been down the rabbit holes. We have examined things. Me and Girl Code once, we examined some pictures from Dallas, from the event of the assassination. We were looking at photographs. I found some photographs that were never released to the public. I found them last year. And she and I, sometimes we do, like, calls where we do video calls. And we went through these pictures. And I'm going to tell you, she and I together, looking at the pictures, it was so obvious that we as a nation have been under the most extreme, I'll say here in America, we've been under the most extreme programming. It's unbelievable, the levels of deception and propaganda. It's something that is off the scale of whatever Joseph Goebbels was doing in Nazi Germany. It's levels. And just Girl Code and I looking at these photographs, it was just, it does something. It does take your innocence, I'll say. It violates your innocence, even as an adult. When you see that someone is just lying to you right in front of your face, just lying. It is like a betrayal that you can't, it's like it's hard to understand the level of betrayal. So if you did go through the times where you remember the assassination of our president, John F. Kennedy, I don't want to discount that trauma. But what I want to do is I want to bring us to the 2 most current events. And that would be September 11th, 2001 and 2020, COVID-19. The aftermath of both of those events are on a level that when we begin to see the trials that are going to happen, it is going to be mind-blowing. I have talked about the trials that are to come. And people don't believe that supreme justice is going to flood this world. It's going to flood this world. Supreme justice. Everyone here I know has been waiting. Some people have been crying out in their prayers for decades as we watch unbridled corruption in our nation, unbridled, just cruelty erupting in our streets. We have watched the quality of life just swirl down the drain. I've talked to you about growing up in Philadelphia and the businesses that I grew up just, it was a part of life that it was a local, powerful economic group economics. And it wasn't all this elitism, okay? My pediatrician lived in the neighborhood. They didn't live off in the hills. My pediatrician's child went to school with me. Can you imagine? My pediatrician's child was in class with me. It was just like that. And we just had a local economy and a local code of conduct. And it was, you know, checks and balances. And now we have watched the quality of everything, the food quality. It's sad. But a lot of us know that we cannot continue. This is a dead end to continue in this insanity. I just looked at the New York Post and they were saying that Biden, like, he's on the front, of the newspaper. The big story is like they had a celebration, and the celebration was about the economy being like improving, inflation, the rate of inflation. So I it's disorienting that we live in a time where the gaslighting is on a level like this. It's truly a clown world. Molly, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. You're welcome. Love you, Molly. Yes, so I'm trying to get this to respond. If you go yourself to the front page of today's New York Post, you'll see where they had oh, there it is. It says can't make this up. Can you imagine? Can't make this up. The White House throws inflation reduction party as stocks crash over dismal 8.3% rate. So they had a party, a celebration at the White House. So that's where we are with the gaslighting, the propaganda, and it's insulting to basic intelligence. Now, I want to talk about what I talked about earlier today. But also I want to say that the title, like I said, now I understand a bit more why my pilot friends fell out with me. I didn't fall out with them. I want to make that really clear. They stopped speaking to me and dealing with me because I decided to support Donald Trump. And that's what I did to offend them. And it became like an attack. I mean, literally. I was like verbally like attacked by one of them. And then the other one's just telling me how I should do this and I should be concerned about how Stacey Abrams, like, what would she think is what he told me. What would Stacey Abrams think? And I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? They were trying to appeal. He was trying to appeal I talked to you about this, that I went to an HBCU. I went to Spelman. I didn't graduate from Spelman. I graduated from Temple, but I went to Spelman. And in my family, in my Black Boule family, they would call me a legacy Spelmanite, because my family on the Eason side, they went to Spelman like back in the early days of Spelman, okay? My family was attending Spelman. So they call you a legacy when you have people from, way back. Maybe when the school started in the 1800s, I may have had a relative that attended Spelman. So I don't care what Stacey Abrams thinks. I don't care what anyone, I can't be appealed to that way. The only one I care about is what God, the creator, thinks at this point. That's it. And basically, he stopped talking to me over this. And then the other one was literally teaching me, okay? Because I began taking flying lessons in my 20s. My father got me lessons, okay? And we joke around. It's funny, I know, that I have a weird relationship to aviation. And because I'm my father's only child, and my father is a genius, okay? And I told you, growing up with someone who is a genius is a little different, okay? It's a little interesting. So he wanted me to learn certain skills, okay? So I'm the girl that knows how to do drywall, finish drywall. I mean, really like odd type of skill sets. But also, I had to learn to fly an airplane, a small craft, and be, proficient in that. And, so he got me lessons, but it was like in my 20s, so this is before I got married and had my daughter. So I didn't finish my lessons because I had my daughter, and people were telling me in my family, they were saying, "Oh, Jennifer, you need to stop all this, stuff that you do. So you shouldn't be flying and doing all this stuff because now you're a mother. You have to get back on the ground and stop all this." So I stopped my flying lessons, and I didn't get my license. So one of my friends was going to help me to get my license. So we were beginning the lessons. But, life happens and stuff. But then the political thing got in the way, where he was so offended that I supported Trump that he fell out with me. He attacked me on the phone and really upset at me. So I'm like, why did I fall out with my pilot friends? And I was just thinking about just all of this like conspiracy theory stuff. And I'm thinking pilots and cosmology. Okay, so let's put on our tinfoil hats here. Pilots and cosmology. So when you are learning aviation, when you're learning even space stuff, aviation, and any kind of instrument training, it is going to be on what they call a flat earth model. So you can look into this. I have some receipts even. But right now, I'm not able to share on this device. I'm having device challenges, okay? If you are having them, you know what I'm talking about. I am going to have to replace like almost my whole suite of devices, okay? Because things are happening that are just so bizarre. I have devices that won't charge up even. Like it doesn't matter. Some will not keep a charge. It's crazy the amount of things that are going on. But it's okay. if this had happened a year or two ago, I would have been bummed out about it. But I laugh. I'm like, okay, it's like a game. It's just another thing to get through. Me and Girl Code, we encourage each other because she goes through a lot of technology challenges also. So we have to keep each other encouraged so we don't like pull our hair out. So yeah, we go through that stuff and we have decided to stay on the battlefield and fight, okay? We're not going to let these challenges chase us off, okay? So it has built up like toughness, mental toughness. As so if you are having technology challenges, just hang on and just be encouraged. Just know that I am, Girl Code is, and we're fighting through it. Okay, it's just a battle. It's just a battle. That's all. So, um, back to this, issue of, the flat Earth model. If you want to call it flat Earth, I don't know. Some of you have other theories that it's not completely flat, of course, that it could be a torsion. What is a torsion? Like a donut type of shape. You know what? I don't need to get into that, but I know it's not a globe. That's all I know, okay? And I know that, when you get into aviation sciences, they base all of their things on a flat Earth model, okay? You can look into NASA, even government documents that will say flat Earth model, okay? So, yes, there it is. Thank you, PH Joy. Toroidal, a toroidal. It's okay if you believe that it's toroidal or flat. We just know that what NASA told us is not true. That's all we know. And we don't care about being called conspiracy theorists at this point because we're so far past being concerned about that anymore. We've uncovered too many lies to be concerned about being called names anymore. So we are just oblivious to that. So back to my pilot friends. So now I'm putting together these connections. I had two, I thought they were good friends, pilot friends, who fell out with me when I decided to be a Trump supporter. And then I didn't go by the script, the Black Boule script. The similar script I told you my uncle was mad at me because I was going to write my book my way. He wanted me to do it his way, to meet Oprah Winfrey, to do this, do that, all of his connections, and I didn't play according to what I was supposed to. And, I was attacked for it. The attacks because of, not playing along, it can be painful, but we're getting through it, okay? So when I think about 9/11, now my post-traumatic stress disorder, when it deals with aviation, is pretty deep. So for me to even take flying lessons or even get on a plane is I've had to overcome some things. And I've had moments where I would start to get anxiety whenever I had to fly. And I didn't know why. It just started out of nowhere. Maybe a few years ago I was having trouble just thinking about flying. The night before my flight, I would just, I don't know, I would want to like cancel my flight, find a reason to cancel. And I was never like that, but you don't know how your trauma is going to, surface, because I've had some aviation drama, aside from the biggest one. I've also had an emergency landing, and I've had somebody, have a heart attack on a plane. where I helped out, me and a doctor. I've had some weird things. I had a woman choking and I, helping these people like as a nurse, on a plane. But still, nonetheless, it still like gives you sort of like pause when you think back on these like events, especially the emergency landing that I experienced, on a vacation. It's a long story, but um, it's just one of these things that you think about occasionally. But when I think about how whenever I have traveled, I told you all this, whenever I've traveled far, you know, I don't sleep on long flights. I don't know. I just can't sleep. So I'm always up, I'm talking to people and the whole thing. But I'm always looking at the tracker, the flight tracker, and they're showing you this globe, and your plane is like, here's the globe, and your plane is like doing this, going over, and you're like, I've always known something was not right. Whenever I fly different patterns, going to China, coming back, and just it's a it's like a discernment, especially if you're an aviation geek. You have this discernment that something is not right. You feel like you're being lied to, but you don't know why. You feel this. So the pilot friends of mine that again stopped talking to me. I'm wondering about this cosmology and everything to do with the truth and the people that work against the truth and that have possibly taken vows to keep the truth from we, the people. And this is all connecting for me. So 9/11 changed everything with the way that I looked at travel. I've told you some of the stories, going through the airport in TSA. Philadelphia is one of the most hostile TSAs. They're the ones that wanted me to take down my Princess Leia buns so they can check my buns. Like I'm hiding something. What am I hiding in my hair? And I told you when I was wearing my afro, somebody wanted to like check my afro, put their hands in my hair. And the violations and just the way that they've treated people. When I remember a time when my father, like my parents were divorced, so I would go back and forth between Philadelphia and Atlanta, so my mom's put me on a plane, my dad's get me off a plane, put me on a plane, and Delta Airlines was like our go-to. So whenever my dad would board me on the plane, he would come all the way onto the plane with me. And he's, I told you earlier, my dad is very charismatic and, he was the handsome basketball chemist. And, he's got all the stewardesses like giggling and everything. Me, I'm like, oh, I was that kid, I always saw the women, the women that come around your dad when he's a basketball player type of guy, a chemist. And you can see the women and you can see their motives from a mile away. And they're always trying to get on your good side, the little kid, the daughter. So yeah, I could write a book, but who knows? Maybe I will. I'm definitely not going through my uncle's contacts, okay? No thank you, Unc. So what was I saying? So yeah. So my dad would put me on the plane. He would stay until they said, okay, Mr. Washington, it's time for us to close the doors and push off. So we're going to have to ask you to leave. And, asking my father to leave an airplane is probably interesting, I'll say. Yes, very interesting. So, yes, he would, he would just put me on the plane that way. And they'd be giving him sodas and laughing with him. So I remember those kind of days of flying. I remember when you dressed up, you didn't wear a bonnet, you didn't wear your house slippers, and you didn't wear short shorts, okay? You didn't wear Daisy Dukes. Like I said earlier, I don't want you sitting on the cloth seats of an airplane. I don't want to sit after you've been in your Daisy Dukes. Okay? That's not appropriate attire for traveling, in my opinion. Okay? Can we get back to some civility? Okay? And going back to Eden is all of that. It's a renaissance. Okay? Like I told you, that Harlem Renaissance aesthetic, that wasn't a renaissance. That was normal code of conduct. My family, the brunette Americans, that is how they looked, okay? So don't get it twisted, everyone, about this slavery narrative. And this is why I have fallen out with a lot of people, because I do not ascribe to a slavery narrative. When I look at my family, how could they have been slaves? It does not make sense. It does not make sense. You cannot come out of chattel slavery and then in just a short amount of time you have produced jazz music. Are you kidding me? The brunette Americans, this is the only nation that we know, that we come from. We cannot be deported anywhere. And the American South is where a lot of us have our roots. Like I told you earlier, my grandmother from Americus, Georgia, she was a doula. And she helped bring into the world almost the entire town at that time of Americus, Georgia. She was the doula that went to your home, went wherever it was needed. She didn't care what your race was, what your economic background was. She helped bring everybody into the world, regardless. So my people are from the American South, and we are returning to our roots. And we are going back to Eden, and we are going back to law and order. And that's what you're going to see unfolding in my life. It's a journey, and it's very exciting. I have a mission that I am on, a back to Eden mission. So stay tuned for all the good stuff. But back to the other stuff, okay? You notice how I have to take a break because it's heavy. This is trauma. So, okay, we have 9/11, and we need to find out what happened because we were lied to by Condoleezza Rice. We were lied to by who else? You can name all the people that lied to us. Colin Powell. They lied to us. And we went to war. And there are many people that died. Many people's lives destroyed. Countries destroyed. Look at what happened in Libya to Gaddafi. That really hurts me, what happened to Gaddafi, because I do not feel that was justified. And the nation now, Libya, is so unstable as a result. Human trafficking has exploded. The Libyans have never been this messed up. And we have criminals that we need to know that they are facing judgment for these things. They are war criminals. So this is why I want you to share this information that I'm about to share with you. And I'm going to read this. We'll be around. I'm here till 10 with you, okay? So if you can hang out till 10 and bear with me, I'm going to get to the section where I have this information. Okay. So I'm reading from an article. It's a site that I get emails called reclaimthenet.com. All right. So this is dated today, Tuesday, September 13th, 2022. Before the COVID enabled behavioral control schemes was the 9/11 triggered anti-terrorist mass surveillance. How will we bring the COVID perps to justice if we still can't nail the 9/11 conspirators? With Richard Gage, A1A founder and former CEO of Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth. He continues to lead the charge toward a real investigation of 9/11, along with his wife and assistant, Gail Gage, at richardgage911.org. If anybody can put that in the chatmosphere, Richard Gage, all one word, richardgage911.org. I'll appreciate if you can. While I continue to read, let me know if you need that again. Richard Gage 911, richardgage911.org, please. I'll wait for a minute. Can anybody get that in there for me? And I'll put it on the screen. If anybody can please type richardgage911.org, please. You did it? Richard Gage, GAGE 911.org. I just want to put it on the screen for everyone. It won't let you post links? Oh, really? Okay, so write that down. You did it? Oh, I can't see it. Okay, well, I'll just repeat it. You did? Okay, thank you. Okay, so Freedom Hub's weekly webinar, now jot this date down, Thursday, September 15th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. That would be 9 a.m. Pacific. Thank you, Sean. Okay, so it's .org. So make sure when he writes the dot, make sure you put as a dot and org, because he's saying they won't allow it in the chat. They can't put it in. But thank you, Sean. At least they know how to spell Richard Gage. Okay, so this date is this Thursday, the 15th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. They are having a webinar. All right. Now, insurers, now they're talking about both things right now at the same time. They're talking about 9/11 and COVID that happened in 2020. So they're saying Freedom Hub's insurers are reporting huge percentage increases in death and disability post-COVID experimental shots. And the pharma ad dependent media ignores it. Haven't you seen lots of big pharma ads lately? Lots and lots. There are tons of them on TV now. Big pharma. I mean, the drugs are just exploding out of big pharma. I didn't know that they had a pipeline that, extensive. They kept saying that the pipeline was drying up when I worked in big pharma, and I'm like, I thought your pipelines were dried up. You sure did find other means. So they say that the pharma ad dependent media ignores this, except for Brian Kilmeade's Fox interview of tech titan Steve Kirsch. Professor Sachs labeled as fraud the current investigation of COVID corruption. Self-thinking folks thought the same of the government's explanation of what transpired in the 2001 terrorism. Will we ever get the truth on any of these false flags, crimes against humanity? Mr. Gage has been blowing the whistle on the controlled demolitions in New York since they happened over 2 decades ago. The only result of the terrorism was mass violence overseas, mass surveillance of Americans at home, and as former Senator Coburn exposed, absolutely zero reduction in terrorism from the Homeland Security boondoggle. Now, I want to talk about Homeland Security now as a new part of our life. Homeland Security. Also, the Patriot Act. So the part of the Patriot Act, I know that it is Anti-Terrorism Act, but the part of the Patriot Act that has the surveillance of the Americans, and also when you go through an airport, you are treated as if you are guilty. So I have run into, thank you so much, there it is. I have run into, is it Gail Ann? Is it done that way? Gail Ann is her name? I think Gail's name isn't in the I think it's just, oh, maybe that's the organization. Thank you. I don't know, but double check, everybody. So back to the Patriot Act. Thank you, Karen. Back to the Patriot Act. I have witnessed things that were horrible when it comes to travel. I have even stood up for a man. I told you all this story. Sometimes we have to just repeat stories because we want to make sure our history is not erased. So going through these airports over the last 20 something years and being treated like a terrorist as an American citizen, having to take your shoes off and be demoralized, having to, one day I had a man, I told you he was just a regular guy, just, you know, regular American guy. He had a prosthetic leg. I've told this story and I'm going to tell it again because it's important. He had a prosthetic leg and he was in front of me and my daughter. We were traveling and I was observing how they were giving him a hard time and they were telling him to take off the prosthetic leg. He took it off and they took the leg, they held it in the air. I kid you not. They took the wand, they had some kind of wand, and they were doing it like real dramatic, right in like in the air, wanding a prosthetic leg. And I was witnessing it and I was just becoming just so angered. And I had to say something. I was going to explode. And I told them, how dare them do such a thing in front of us? And why couldn't they give him the dignity of taking him somewhere privately to do that? Because when I looked on his face, he looked broken. He was so embarrassed. It was like a secondhand embarrassment that I felt. And I had to tell them, you are wrong right now. What you are doing to a fellow American, how dare you? And I have watched, I told you recently, when the mask started, and I'm in the airport without a mask on. If I travel now on airplanes, it's because I absolutely have to. At this point, I would be willing to drive from here to Los Angeles. I've done it before. I've driven from Philadelphia to Los Angeles by myself. So I am so dead set against flying at this point. And I'm an aviation junkie, but I'm so dead set tired of the treatment. I watched them kick off a family with a 4-year-old who wouldn't keep a mask on. You saw the video when they did that. And the airline employees, when they're just with their little bit of power and they're harassing and just abusing we the people. I will not forget this. And I do not want to be on their airplanes. Especially, like I said, my pilot friends fell out with me because I'm showing that I'm more conservative. That's not allowed. So I don't toe the line. But see, the thing is, I'm free. I'm free because I've never taken any of your oaths. I've never pledged to your organizations. I'm free to talk. I'm not loyal to any of this stuff that they are. I don't have to keep secrets. So TSA treating us this way, I've had to speak up. I watch them. I'm in line and I'm watching all the people in the mask, businessmen in suits, and a woman with a baby, a mother. She's by herself. And I watched this young TSA worker. He looked like, I don't know, he just looked too young, really. And he made this mother pour out. She's pouring out the baby bottles. She couldn't take the baby bottles through. She had to pour them out if she wanted to save the bottles. And I watched him make this mother pour out baby bottles of milk for the baby. I hit the roof. Okay? And I'm looking around, I'm like looking for men. I'm like, where are the men? And I looked at a few of them, then look at them, they're like this. And I said, are we gonna let him do this? This is a mother. He's making her pour the milk out for the baby. And I'm asking everybody, are we gonna just sit here and they were like this, look. They just looked at me. This is the kind of society that men stand down when they are watching tyranny and a baby. And I was thinking, I was like, I told the TSA guy off. I said, I yelled out, I'm the crazy one. I'm like, so what is the baby's milk supposed to do to threaten us? What is the milk supposed to do? And I said, how are you doing that to this woman? What if she, I'm thinking like the way that the flights are, you're missing flights and you're having to stay in hotels these days because the flights are being canceled. So they made her pour out the baby's bottle. What if the flight was canceled? And she has nothing to feed her baby with. This is not okay. And we need people to demand that we get to the bottom with investigations. It's time, everybody. So we need to be on this Zoom call this Thursday at 12 noon. We need to hear what some people are doing. They are on the front lines. They are not letting their foot off of the necks of these criminals. They have been out here fighting, and we owe them at least to tune in and see what is going on when it comes to the investigations behind 9/11, because we demand answers. We're not going to have another JFK assassination where we're told, oh, it was this, it was that, it was the other. No, we're not going to be the generation that accepts that, especially after this 2020 incident. And now we're looking at the aftermath so soon. Sudden adult death syndrome. Oh, really? And we're supposed to sit by and stand down. No, 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 no. So let me continue. because like I said, I have till 10. And with COVID offering those in control a convenient tool to ratchet up the behavior manipulating goals they have, one might ask if there's any barrier to them unleashing even more false flag terror in the future. Richard's quixotic campaign is still very active, and he'll update Freedom Hub on whether we're any closer to the truth since that tragic day in New York, or whether there's anything we can do to reverse course and restore a republic that can avoid these deep state crimes against America. So this is the Zoom link. Put in, you know how you do the HTTPS, and then you have the semicolons, double backslash backslash yourfreedomhub.com backslash 911 truth. I'll read it again. It's HTTPS. No, let me see if I can put it in, because this is too important. Okay, so I'm going to tune in Thursday, September 15th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time to this call or whatever, this webinar, and I want to hear what they are proposing. Richard and his wife, they have been working at this. So let me go ahead and post this link for you. Bear with me. I want to make sure I get this right. Okay, so bear with me. So it's your... You know how you have to slow down when you're doing this stuff? It's like, I want to make sure I get everything. Okay. Okay. So there you are, everyone. So this is it here. And what they're saying is invite friends and colleagues to join the discussion by signing up here to receive the Zoom link. Okay, so this is where you receive the Zoom link, and they're going to give you an hour reminder right before. So just expect that it will be an hour before you will get a reminder. Okay, so if you're on the call, like I said earlier, it's just like, this is beautiful that the technology, whatever they meant for bad, we have used it for good. And this has been our way to connect with each other and keep the information flowing and having discourse with each other where we can, we used to have the porch where we could sit and talk, or, it's still happening in the barber shops and things like that. So for us, these platforms are wonderful. And the thing about this also, I was just envisioning, like, if we were living in the same town, I said we could just say, let's go to this seminar together. Let's meet at this coffee shop. Of course, it's an independent coffee shop. It's not Starbucks, okay? We want the rise of the independent shops and the artisans. We want the skills to be plentiful so that the younger generation will want to learn skills, different skills, and a sustainable, kinder economy and society. So we know that we've been lied to about 9/11. Why do we still have to go through airports where, like I said, I used to love to see families It was one of those things I loved at the gate, right at the, there'd be right at the desk almost. And you see somebody just come through the door running and they hug their loved one. And, I was always like that, even as a kid, I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, crying and stuff, a little tear of joy, and just watching the reuniting of people. And they've taken that sweet innocence away from us, we the people. Flying is sometimes scary for people. Why can't they have their loved one waiting in that lobby area? Why? Why are we taking our shoes off? Why are we getting zapped with radiation? Why? Because everything we've been told, somebody had something in their shoe, an explosive in their shoe on the plane, right? Really? And that's why we have to take our shoes and socks off and whatever. We have to take all these things off. You want to take my hair down so you could check, what am I supposed to have in my hair? What did the mother have in the baby bottle? Why? I've been in Paris, Charles de Gaulle Airport. You talk about pissing somebody off? Make them throw away their cheese that they brought in France. Yes, I watched it. I watched the TSA people at Charles de Gaulle with all of that French disdain, just tossing people's cheeses and all kinds of things they bought in Paris with no regard. I've had so many products tossed and chucked into trash bins. No regard. They don't care. I've missed planes because of TSA harassing people and holding up the line. I missed a flight because of them. Do you think the airline cared? Do you know what they told me? We have nothing to do with what TSA does. Don't tell us. Not our problem. They're not accountable. They can abuse us and demoralize us and take us and just out in the open. I know they tell you could go behind a closed door, but they still do nasty things, going through your belongings, holding up. I had one guy hold up, I had pictures, like pictures, they were old pictures, and he's holding up the pictures. They were like family pictures and stuff. He's holding them up. Oh wow. Oh wow. He's talking about the picture. And I'm thinking, how much of a violation? This man has no training. He should not be dealing on this level of security without the proper training on how to deal with people. This is not good. It's not acceptable. We shouldn't be violated and treated like criminals. And I want it to stop. We do not deserve it. We don't deserve to be treated that way. How did we just normalize it? Why don't we ask for redress of the way that we're treated in the airports? Why did we just lay down and let them walk all over us? Why? Why are we not bothered by it? We have a republic, everybody. This is not a democracy. This is a republic. And we need to restore this republic with law and order. We need the republic restored. And this is not acceptable to treat us like the criminals. No. Law and order means everybody is equal under the law. That means you, Tiffany Haddish, you're a woman and you have abused children. And I'm not going to say allegedly. I saw the tapes. I saw enough of them. So if you're a woman and you abuse children, this is the energy that we're in right now. You are equal under the law. The supreme law, which is now coming back. Like I said, can you hear the trumpets? The trumpets, the trumpeteers. The trumpets are blowing, the trumpets of truth, as our brother in Ireland so eloquently states, the trumpets of truth. You know, I thought about my uncle Curly, Charles Eason. He passed away. We had a bumpy relationship. He was hard to get along with. He loved to debate. You know, people like that, they love to debate. They like to troll and they like to argue. He was one of the very argumentative. But you know what? I dealt with him. I put up with him. I loved him as my uncle, but he was a difficult person. But we had good times. Okay, he lived in San Francisco for many years. He moved out. Now, at 7 years old, I didn't know this. My mother told me at 7 years old, my Uncle Curly picked up a trumpet and showed raw talent. And my grandfather was a jazz crooner. My grandfather was an electrical scientist. He worked for RCA. This is why you see this right here. And this is why you see the dancers right here, the ballerinas that are on my gramophone, is because my grandfather bought me a cake once and it had all these ballerinas on it. It was my 6th birthday. And it's such a joke. Me and my mother still laugh about it. He got me a wedding cake for my 6th birthday. You know, because of what I went through as a child, sometimes they would overdo it. Okay. They're like, oh, we got to get her something fabulous. So he brings home a wedding cake for my 6th birthday, and it had all of these ballerinas on it, okay? And it was just phenomenal. It took my breath. I think I cried because it was so, you know, when you're a kid and something overwhelms you, and the kids are singing happy birthday from the neighborhood. This is in West Philly on 55th and Locust. Shout out West Philly, where I was born and raised. I wasn't born. I was raised, okay? I was born in the suburb of Chicago, Gary, Indiana, the portal to, I'm not going to say it, right, Karen? Listen, everybody, whenever I talk about where I was born, Gary, Indiana, something crazy happens. Whenever I try to go visit Gary, Indiana, I wound up in the hospital one time. I was going to Chicago. I was staying with my uncle, the one that wants me to write your book through Oprah. So I'm staying with him, and you know, he's got a high rise, you know, looking out Lake Michigan. He's like, you know, he's the guy, okay? He's the playboy. But I'm looking at Lake Michigan, you know, outside, you know, his window. And it's like, this is when they had the polar vortex. So they had these like icebergs and it was everywhere. And I was like, oh my gosh. But I tried to get over to Gary and it was just, it was such spiritual warfare. I can't explain it, but I wound up in the hospital. It's a long story, okay? It's crazy story. When I came out of the hospital, that's when people were saying, Jennifer, your video went viral on Alex Jones. The ones when I was having a rant about mandatory flu shots for nurses. It happened to go viral when I was in the hospital. I had no idea. I was fighting for my life. I'll tell you about it at another time. But, you know, I'm just saying this to say that, you know, we have like when I think about my uncle, and just like my grandfather was a jazz crooner, even though he worked for RCA, he was a Renaissance man. He was a chef. He owned like a grocery store at one time, a little corner grocery store, and he had like a soda fountain and all this. And my mother and her sisters worked at the soda fountain. You know, they were making the sodas, and it was like all of this amazing stuff, you know. And he taught my uncle electrical stuff, you know, sciences. My uncle then took that education and added to it, and he became a gaffer, which is a lighting technician. So he worked in Hollywood. He lived up in San Francisco. And, you know, he was a trumpet player. They sent him to Settlement Music School in Philadelphia when he was a child. So he learned the trumpet. And I didn't even appreciate that I had an uncle who was a trumpeter. You know, and I have a cousin he plays the saxophone, and he started playing as a child too. Just picked up saxophone and can play by ear. And he is respected in the music world, especially Philadelphia. You know, he moves in those circles like Bilal and all these people, you know. He's friends with all those kinds of guys, you know, Philadelphia musicians. So again, I want you to know that my little peculiar tribe, I call us now the American brunettes, we are waking up and we are rising up and we are returning back to the American South. And we want to get back to the land. We want to get back to Eden. And we want this country to we want to restore, we want to be part of restoration for this republic. And we want Jubilee. If you can hear the trumpets of Jubilee, I'm telling you, they are sounding very loudly. And I will continue to encourage you to know that the trumpets are sounding. And thank you, Amy, for the trumpets. Throw those trumpets in. And I have to go. And I want to say I love you. And Thursday, I'm gonna tune in. I want to hear what's going on. We need to ask for investigations into 9/11 and 2020. We're not going to just have all this stuff fall down on us. We have to do the work, okay? Betty, wow, Betty, welcome. Love you, Betty. I've missed you. Take care, everyone. I want to say thank you for joining. I'm going to hop off. I have to get on training. I'm going through a lot of training, okay? So I'll be back with you and I'll see you very soon, okay? So take good care, all right? Bye-bye.